Learn how to find the midpoint of a line segment on a number line and a coordinate plane.
How do I find the midpoint of a line segment?
Let's look at a line segment on a number line with the endpoints A and B at -4 and 6. The distance between the endpoints is 10 units, so the midpoint must be 5 units, or half of 10, from each endpoint. The midpoint M has a coordinate at 1. Now let's find the midpoint another way. Calculate the average of the coordinates for A and B, -4 plus 6 divided by 2, or 2 over 2, or 1. The average between two values is the number that lies halfway between them. In general, the midpoint of a segment on a number line whose endpoints have coordinates A and B is A plus B divided by 2, or simply the average of the two coordinates.
What if the line segment is on a coordinate plane?
Okay, let's create a segment with endpoints at -3, 2 and 7, 6. To find the midpoint, look at the horizontal and vertical distances between the endpoints of the segment. Move horizontally from A to B on the line y equals 2 and vertically on the line x equals 7. The two lines intersect at the point 7, 2. Now use these pieces to find the midpoint of segment AB. The midpoint of the horizontal piece has the same y coordinate of 2, so we only need to find the midpoint of the x coordinates. To do that, average them just as we did for the number line. -3 plus 7 divided by 2 is 2. The midpoint of the horizontal segment is at 2, 2. Now repeat the process for the vertical segment. Since only y coordinates vary, find the midpoint of those values. Average 6 and 2 to find the midpoint of 4. The midpoint of the vertical segment is at 7, 4. Now translate those midpoints horizontally and vertically back to segment AB to find the midpoint of the line segment. The midpoint of segment AB is at the point 2, 4. To sum up, the value of the x-coordinate of the midpoint is the average of the x-coordinate of A and B. The value of the y-coordinate of the midpoint is the average of the y-coordinates of A and B.
Do I need to graph the points to find the midpoint?
No, you don't have to graph the coordinates if you use the midpoint formula. If A is the point x1, y1, and B is the point x2, y2, then the midpoint can be found by averaging x1 plus x2 divided by 2 and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. For example, find the midpoint of segment AB when A has coordinates -4, -6, and B has coordinates 7, -2. First, average the x-coordinates and then average the y-coordinates. -4 plus 7 divided by 2 and -6 plus -2 divided by 2 simplifies to 3 over 2 and -8 over 2. So the midpoint is 3 over 2 -4, or 1 5/10 -4.
Can I use a midpoint formula to find a missing endpoint?
Yes, the formula is useful for problems where the midpoint and one endpoint are given. For example, find the coordinates of endpoint B given that M is the midpoint of segment AB. A is the point 3, 4, and M is the point 5.5, -1. To start this type of problem, label the missing endpoint B as X, Y. Next, we will set up two equations, one for X and one for Y. For the X's, average the X coordinates of the endpoints. 3 plus x divided by 2 equals 5.5, the x value of the midpoint. Next, multiply both sides by 2. Solve for x, and the result is x equals 8. This is the x-coordinate for the endpoint B. Repeat this for the y-coordinates. And y is negative 6. So the coordinates of the endpoint B are 8, negative 6.
Are there other uses for the midpoint formula?
Yes, the midpoint formula may be used for problems involving segment bisectors, triangles, and circles. You need to find the midpoints of segments throughout mathematics.